Hello, everyone. Morning, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Hey. Okay, Chongjin pinged me and he will not be able to join this call, so I will be hosting it. I see Wei Tang, you propose some topic, right? So in the agenda.
Yeah, I think we have two topics on this meeting.
Okay. Can you review the agenda again one more time?
Sure. So firstly, I would like to introduce the CLI, the user command interface. Then Xiaodong will introduce the virtual machine to run the SONiC OTN operating system. And that's the agenda. To see if you have any other update.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I'm not sure for anyone else have some agenda topic want to add.
Yeah, I'm gonna update. I think Chongjin maybe will update later, but we already received the record for the last meeting. Maybe we have 2 or 3 meeting records, and I think the Linux Foundation already will submit to YouTube channel. I think when it's ready, we can send it out in the group.
Yeah, I was in that email discussion, and the latest development was 2 or 3 past meeting links was shared, and I think Chongjin will try to upload it to the wiki page. But in the future, for the long run, the SONiC Foundation proposed to create a YouTube channel that is not really public, but open to all the members, so we can all watch it, watch the past meeting recordings. Right. So far, I think two past meeting recordings available. One of them was broken, so somehow we lost one meeting, but we have 2 of them, and we can just read. Whoever didn't attend the prior meetings can just watch the recordings to see the history of it. Yeah, in future, once the YouTube channel is available, you can check all the different series of meeting recordings from YouTube.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, if no other topics, then let's just stay with the agenda. We can go ahead and introduce the CLI design. Just a reminder, as in the end, like all the design still need to be submitted as PRs and proposals in the SONiC community, right? So I think this, like we did all the other discussions before, is a pre-review of what you have done, right? And we can take a quick look and try to see for any collections.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Any comments? Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So, can everybody see my screen?
I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see it.
Hello, my name is Wei Tang Zhen from Alibaba Cloud. I think this is the last user space module on the SONiC OTN operating system. This is the CLI utilities. So I would like to introduce the SONiC utilities first. So the SONiC utilities is a command line interface implementation based on Click. Click is a Python framework to support the CLI on Python, and it also supports all the functionalities for switch devices, such as the IP interface management, the BGP, DHCP, LDP, and so on. And also it has a SONiC installer, which you can use to upgrade the SONiC operating system. So all the commands or the command reference you can find in these links, because 80% CLI commands are locked in SONiC master module are not required on the OTN device, such as the DHCP or some commands in the level 3 IP management. So these commands are not required on the OTN device. So then we decide to create a new SONiC OTN utilities Python package. I think then it will be easier for us to merge it back into the SONiC OTN master branch, because it will be an independent Python package. In this SONiC OTN CLI package, we will manage all the OTN device components. We divide it into multiple components, such as the chassis, the fan, the power supply, the slot, or transponder client ports, line ports, and all the optical components, such as the EDFA, OSC, OLP, VOA, OCM, OTDR, and so on. I want to faster go through all the functionalities we already support in this SONiC OTN operating system. And in the next demo, and I think Xiaodong will demonstrate some of these CLI commands in the virtual machine. So I would like to give a faster introduction. So for the chassis, we support to configure the temperature threshold, and also we support to show the 50 minutes or 20 hours current and history PM. And also it includes the in-service upgrade. Then it will upgrade all the slots, all the line cards, and the control unit in the chassis upgrade command, and also the history and the current alarms, and also the inventory information. So here's what the CLI looks like. So the config chassis 1, the temperature threshold, the low, high alarm warning threshold, and the show the information, show the PM. And also the other part is the system command, which is used to management or configure the system, such as the AAA, authentication, accounting, and the IP, configure IP address, configure the BGP OSPF, and collect the whole system logs, warm and cold reboot, SNMP trap configuration, syslog server configuration, the NTP configuration, and the system configuration, backup and restore. And you can configure the system and the host name. And also you can, I think we don't support config telemetry in the CLI right now, but we support to show, to retrieve the telemetry information configuration. And also you can add or delete users. So here's an example. So configure the NTP address and the interface IP address for the OSC interface. And also you can back up the system's configuration to the server through the SFTP. And this is the name, and this is the user to upload the configuration to the remote server. Then it's the slot. Slot means all the line cards slot. These are the common functionality for slot, such as the PM, the alarm, the inventory information, the threshold, and also the very important one is configure the line card type. And if it's a transponder, then you can configure the module, the mode. For example, show the information configuration, show the alarm, and you configure the slot 1 type and the 230C, which we already introduced in the previous meeting, which is a transponder line card. And we can configure this slot 1. We would like to provisioning as a transponder line card, and the line cards mode is line side is 400 gig and client side is 200 gig. So this is the mode of this line card. And also you can control the power to power on or power off, and you can configure it as another line card the fun is easier. So you can show the information, show the PM, and also you can configure the funds, speed, and the PSU. We can only show all the informations and the PM. Then let's jump to the line cards. So firstly is the transponders. Transponders we are split in two parts. One is client side and the line side. So for the client side, you can show the transceivers, module transceivers state and configuration, show the PM, show the LLDP information, show the remote monitoring counters. And also you can configure many attributes for the client side, such as the laser, the LLDP with delay measurement, and the auto laser shutdown, and so on. So here's the CLI command. You can show the slot, then because we know that the slot one is a transponder line card, then you can display the client, and all means all the client side. If there are 4 client ports, then you can show all the, it will loop all the client's ports. And also you can configure the client port. And line side is almost the same. So you can show the module information, show the state configuration, and show the performance. And also you can configure the frequency, the power, the TTI message, the loopback, PRBS, and so on. So the CLI looks almost the same, but here is the line side. And yeah. Then let's jump to the optical line card, the line side line card. So for example, the ORP you can show the, I think the show command is almost the same if it will include the inventory state and the configuration information and the performance. And but
Can I open the question now?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a hand raised. I see. Tran, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, so I think yeah, these are good proposals. So I just wanted to ask like if so a few questions. First, like are all these config going to config DB, and are they kind of persistent?
Yes. So we introduced this in the last meeting, talking about the database. So once we configuration, for example, we configure the ORP one attribute to a value. Then firstly, well, I think I can jump to here. So for example, I configure the slot 1 line TX laser on. I turn on the laser. Firstly, it will set the data into the config database. Then the OLS, which manages the line card, will subscribe the table in the config database. Then it will call the line API to set the configuration to the line card. So then it will wait for the response. If the setting is succeed, then it will respond the result to the CLI command and show the result in the terminal. Yeah.
So this config can go through even if the port is empty or absent. Is that true, or has to, like sometimes we can like you know, the ports can have different kind of optical component in there. If you config for like let's say VOA, but you end up inserting a EDFA, is it something like you have considered?
Let me check. So I think this one is not the pre-configuration case. So the pre-configuration means that we expect the slot 1 is for example, if is I can jump to here. I'm not sure if this is the same case. So for example, when we got a chassis, then we will pre-configuration the chassis. So we expect that the slot 1 is a transponder line card. But the fact is, if users insert another line card, for example, another one, then it will raise another alarm. Then the configuration will not set to the line card. But if
Okay.
so, in your case, if they expect a EDFA, but they insert a VOA, if it's a different line card, it's a line card level, then it will not set to the line card. It will raise a line card mismatch and other configuration will hold off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do have another question. So, I think like the chassis one should be pretty common. It should already exist in the SONiC utility repo. We should check if some CLIs can be is already present and can be shared. So for the optics one, I don't think they are there. So those needs to be in proposing the HLD and presented to the SONiC community in a HLD review session and get agreement in the community. So I think that's the right way to go, right? Yeah, so just first get an HLD PR in the SONiC repo, and then raise that PR for review and discussion. I think that's something we should do. Yeah.
Yeah. So
one sec. I think I wanted to add on top of it as well, right? So this one, the SONiC CLI, which you said is going to be a separate repo, right? Is it also using the same Python click?
Yeah, SONiC utility, it's a repo for CLI only. But
I know.
we should raise a PR in SONiC, right? Just
no. I know that. No, I'm not getting there. What I'm asking is, SONiC is using Python click, I know, but what I believe who is presenting said that we are not using that. We are basically, because of configuring the optical parameters, right? They created another one for OTN specifically, right? So is it using SONiC, like SONiC the Python click, or is it using something else? Is what my question is.
I think
Are you using Python click also for the SONiC OTN CLI feature, as what I'm asking?
You mean your question is, did we use some functionality from the SONiC utilities?
Yeah, okay, there are two parts to it. One is, are we following the same methodology as what SONiC is currently doing in the networking, like using Python click and enhancing that, right, to add this, or are we following a different model?
So in the source code implementation, we use the same framework. So
Okay, so you're using the same Python click. Okay, that was my first
Well,
question.
like, can somebody clarify what's plug and play? Definition of plug and play.
What's your question?
Well, like I hear, like, do we follow the SONiC plug and play design concept? Like, are we sure that plug and play concept? Can we clarify a little bit?
You mean the compatible with the SONiC?
Like plug and play, that's what I heard. Did I get it correct?
Plug and play. That's what Gary is saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cannot understand this question.
No, I think what he is asking is, somebody mentioned plug and play looks like. So are we?
Because plug and play, that means a lot of things. That can mean a huge like design requirement, like, which just mean you can plug in anything without provisioning it, and then you will get auto provision. You will do lots of things for the plug and play.
Oh, okay. So I think, okay, let me rephrase this question. I think what I'm getting from what he's saying is he talking about the optics plug and play, like you just configure it, and then as and when you plug and play, it will basically get the configuration and get applied? Is that what is he talking about?
Yeah, I think like just try to clarify your question.
No, my question was related to SONiC utilities, existing SONiC networking, right? Using the way they use it to use CLIs using Python click is what I was saying. So are we following the same model as my first question? And that was
Okay, got
answered. He said, yes, we are following the Python click model is what he is saying. But there are a lot of things which we can use from the existing SONiC CLI itself is what I was thinking. Like fan, PSU and things like that, it's already there, right? And I think even if I'm not wrong for the optical thing, right, there was some CLI enhancements as well done in the existing SONiC repo I saw, which was done for the optical as well, right? Using the same Python click, if I'm not wrong. So that's what I wanted to know, whether we are using the same model or a different model.
Yeah, so I think because we hope that in the future maybe we can merge this SONiC OTN source code into the SONiC master branch. I think in this case, if we set up a new Python package, then I think it will be easier for us to merge it back.
But like, are we using the same look and feel, like the same like model for the system?
Maybe we can create a new module. So for example, if we are compile the SONiC OTN package, the OS, then we just build the SONiC OTN CLI. But if it's the SONiC for the switch, then we compile the SONiC original one. That's, yeah, we can discuss this. Yeah, that's my.
I think we presume you like to use the same look and feel, the same like system model, right? So you don't want to create a second set, because otherwise, then SONiC like we would SONiC OTN will deviate from the original design, and then
that is correct. I
also
would
create
like
confusion as well.
Yeah, I would like to second the thought, whatever Tam has said just now. Yeah, we should probably try to follow the same original design and not do in a different way, because then as he says, it might confuse people as well. So people have used SONiC earlier. They are used to a kind of CLI configuring, right? So we should follow the same methodology so that people don't get confused, and probably try to use the existing infrastructure which is already there, which actually supports for fan chassis, PSUs, and things like that. If I'm not wrong, I think they have in multi-chassis. Maybe there is a configuration, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I also agree with this view, and because the way Microsoft are going to be using this work, right? So if SONiC OTN do hit our production network in future, we will be using the same SONiC services. Like
Exactly.
there's a lot of service running to monitor and configure SONiC related hardware, right? Regardless it's a router, whose router it is, right? So different flavor of routers. It's the same SONiC service that's running on top of it. That is doing all the data pooling to the basic configurations to all the devices. In this case, like for example, a command of show chassis temperature. I don't want to have a different command for optical versus for router. Yeah,
right.
So
Exactly.
we don't want to like we invent the wheel as well. The wheel is there. We just use it.
Yeah.
So it'll be existing. The existing architecture. If we just write our code into the OTN along the same lines, it's easy for one thing. Is it's easier for people who understand SONiC earlier, who've been working, right? Even the operators and everybody, they'll be able to easily use this new CLI command as well, because it follows the existing way of doing things. And secondly, you will be able to easily merge onto the existing code as well without any issues, right? So if you diverge and do a different thing, then it might become a problem again. But trying to merge it back, right? It will be a double work for us to do.
I think it's way more than that. Like we want to keep the look and feel like consistent
It be the
across
same. Yeah.
solution and product as well, right?
Correct.
And then,
yes, I agree.
So OTN is another just like another plugin to the SONiC world, and then you want to extend the existing look and feel and to include OTN, but not recreate everything on the system.
Yes.
To next one, Xiaodong will demonstrate the CLI. I'm not sure if the view. I think the view and the how we run the CLI command is almost the same as the SONiC, but the command, how how we organize the command. For example, we should chassis information or should information the full word. So this CLI command is different, but the how we use.
I think that's a problem, right? Because if you have a different look and feel, and then you will need to educate your customer or whoever, like, to learn it, to adopt it twice, and then to build the ecosystem twice. If they have the OTN as well as the router and others, and switch there as a solution, that's not ideal.
I think we can support. We can discuss this detail maybe once we decide to merge it back. For example, we can support both two kinds of. So, for example, we can support two different CLI commands. So one is because this one, I think the network engineer in the OTN or in the OTN field, they were familiar with these kind of CLI, but
like not on the system, right? Like you have SONiC as a solution, then that they keep the SONiC look and feel consistent across the product line.
Yeah,
with respect to the operating system, at least, right? With respect to the operating system, it has to be aligned. If you're changing the way it is being done, or the CLI command itself, right? Then yeah, it'll be a problem, because for the same operating system, you have two different versions or two different flavors of configuring, one for OTN and one for routing. So I think we should have the same approach for both, is what the other person is also saying. I do agree on that part.
Yeah, let's pause the discussion here. I think I don't. We need to compare the detailed CLIs line by line, really to tell if Raytheon is doing something different or it's just is actually the same, right? So like configure, for examples here, configure NTP, right? So that's common for every device.
That's correct. That's one part, right? The other part is basically implementation also, right? The implementation, if you diverge and do it in a different way, it might be difficult. Really think on those terms. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, my understanding of the way Alibaba did this work was they forked from one SONiC branch like a few years back, and then try to build on top of it, right? So if this kind of thing already exists a few years back, I don't think Alibaba would have spent effort to try to reinvent the wheel, right? So it's it doesn't make sense if a config NTP is already there, why you would want to redo it, right? So it's yeah. So let's the discussion will be more meaningful if we really look into the details of each configuration CLIs, right? So and compare it, and that's when a PR to merge back happens. That line by line comparison will be there. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So slot, so the transceiver, then the ORP. I think these are almost the same. The configure slot, then the ORP, then the ORP index, and then the should information, should configuration. Then you can configure different kinds of attribute for the ORP, and then the VOA and the ORC. The ORC, we support to show the ORC LDP information, and I think these configurations are mapping to the line definition. Then
so I have a question. So the number here, index here, is a 0 based or 1 based?
1 based.
1 based. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So we will create the line object, then we will pass the index to the create function.
So slot is 1 based as well.
Yeah. Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Then
this is a little bit different from traditionally. Everything is 0 based.
Really?
Like yeah, Ethernet interface, for example, right?
Yeah, that's why we.
So we can talk about this later.
Yeah, we can create a common rule that high level can easily use it. Then the EDFA, so it's all the shoe command is almost the same. You enable. Or the shutdown, enable, disable, configure gain, tilt, configure the APR, and so on. The OCM should inventory, should the spectrum, and configure the monitoring port, configure the spectrum grid, and OTDR, and config the pose rise, the distance range, and so on. So these are the CLI command we already have. Then I would like to introduce the architecture. So the SONiC OTN CLI utility is a Python package, and it will installed in the SONiC OS. And the CLI command will interact with the Redis database Docker. So then it can disaggregate with the PMON or the ORSS. If user configure the data, it will just write the data in the config database and check the response from each operation. If the operation is failed, then it will roll back the configuration in the CLI command. And if user just want to retrieve the data, then the CLI command just retrieve the data from the state DB, count DB, and history DB. So the PMON and the ORSS manage the file, CU, PSU, and the line cards. So I think the CLI implementation is quite straightforward. It just communicate, cooperate with the Redis database.
Yeah, so here, based on my understanding, so the OTN utility is a different copy of source code from the SONiC utility, right?
Yeah,
It's not a code shared. I mean, it's not the same code base.
Yeah, I would like
Okay.
to create a new data.
Yeah, so we need to
New
talk
source
about
code.
this as well. I mean, you have many duplicated implementation from original SONiC utilities, right? So how do we kind of, ideally, right? We should have a common code base. That's what we try to aim to see how this can be done, so that the OTN utility is just an extension of original SONiC utility, right? Same code base. Then that is what I try to achieve here. But let's see for next phase. Yeah, I think we can do that. So otherwise, you have two different copy, then you basically have a different system of code. Yeah.
You're right, Jimmy. You mentioned it a few times. I think maybe we don't did it differently before, but it still can be done that way, right? So it's we could maybe cherry pick some of the code here and merge it back to the original one without really creating a new OTN utility folder or repo, right? So
otherwise it will, even you check in this OTN utility, there will be two copies of the same thing, right?
Yeah, and
you wouldn't want to do this because, for example, there are some bugs in the older utility.
Exactly.
And
I was actually going only in that angle. If the maintainability, right? If you have some fixes on one of the SONiC routing CLI, if you don't bring it back here, then it'll be a problem. So you need to make sure that whatever you do there, you need to basically replicate it here, which is all like too much of work. So I think since we are yanking the SONiC utilities to OTN, I would prefer whatever is the diff here, we probably try to put it back onto the SONiC utilities, so that it's just follows the same architecture of what SONiC routing is, and we just use the same CLI architecture, and it becomes easier for us not to maintain too much of things, right? In the long run.
Yeah, I agree. So because there are 20% CLI command, we use the SONiC master branch. So how we handle this 20% CLI commands? I think the OTN CLI commands, because I think it's easier for us to, I don't know, maybe I will you will find the source code later. So maybe I think we can discuss this. I think we can do all kinds of solutions about the effort. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Another copy will be easy to check in because you don't interference with original SONiC utility, right? but whether their community will accept you like this way, there will be another thing. They will say, why you want to do this again? Oh.
But like for sure, they
this
will
will be
accept
the
it, right?
challenge
If we
way.
deviate if we
Mm.
deviated from the original too much and adding, right? But if you just extended the original like the CLI utility by adding the OTN functionality, then the SONiC community will embrace your solution for sure.
Yeah. As long as you don't have a duplicate effort.
It's not duplicate effort, like as long as you are complementing the solution.
Then
Right,
it's
I think
okay.
that's a
Yeah.
key to pass forward.
Agree.
Okay. So the example, so configure the transceiver TX laser. So first step, user run the configure slot 1 TX laser run command. Then the CLI will set the Redis 0 because this is a slot 1, because there are multiple Redis database instance, then it will map to the Redis 0. Then because it's the configuration, then it will configure the, it will write the configuration database, the logical database. Then the table is the transceiver, because this is configuring the transceiver. Then the table name, the table is transceiver 1 L1. Then the field is enable because this is our open config definition. Then we set the enable to true. Then the OLSS will subscribe the table, then write then set the configuration to the line card through the line API. Then
may I ask a simple question?
Yeah.
Maybe a dumb question. Like, based on this, do we support like dry provisioning? By dry provisioning means we can provision the information without the physical hardware there.
Yes. This we have a slide in the wiki, in the group. Yeah, we name it pre-configuration. So if
Okay,
know
but in that case, like you're setting the Redis 0, I presume the Redis 0 is the first data store, the base data store, and then we replicate it to other data store, and then that's it. Then you return from there instead going to OLSS, or
so if it's a pre-configuration, then I forgot that. So if it's a pre-configuration, we don't forgot that. Sheldon, do you remember that?
If in a pre-configuration flow, the configure will persist in the REST DB, and the configuration will also keep in OS. And when an anchor is inserted, and then OS will publish all configuration to the NAND card.
so what you're saying, like, we first do a configuration to the Redis 0, which is as a base database. Then we push the configuration down to the OLSS. And then we do a like high level validation of the configuration. And then we return the config result without like pushing the configuration to hardware. Is that the current proposal?
That's right. Yeah.
So in that case, do we have a set of that's validation rules of validation you're going to put into the OLSS?
Yes. OS will have reused side metadata lib to do validation.
So are we like, is there like certain rules, or is there like, how are we going to pre-provision those rules for validation? Like, are we dividing those into the model, or we plug in, we're going to input them as a plugin through like the metadata model that like Is there a view of the design at the moment?
So right now we will validate the, for example, the user pass a parameter. We will validate the value of parameter in the CLI first. Then it will pass to the OLSs. Then the OLS in the line level there's another validation, but
Yeah, but there's no
same.
line, there's no card there. Let's say there's no card, no physical hardware.
Yeah.
So then how?
So in this
like,
case,
how-
I think we just validate in the CLI command.
the CLI command based on validate based on what? Based on the Yang model.
No, we validate manually.
But how can you validate manually? If the Yang model changed and then you need to reconfigure everything. Are you planning to make it like a model driven? Because like one day you're going to change a model, you're going to be recreating the entire like thing again for the validation.
So in the CLI, we support a configuration file. So for each line card, the attribute, the range of some attribute,
But are those model driven? So if they are model driven, at least we can make everything data driven. Otherwise, you really need to have some kind of the external file driving the configuration rules. I think it is more intuitive is to make it model driven as a solution.
You mean the module means
The model Yang model driven.
No, we don't support a Yang model driven because no, we don't support that
At the moment. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So because the CLI implementation is we manually run these commands, but because we think there's a solution that we can generate the CLI command from the Yang. But I think these CLI command is very difficult for the user, for the network engineer to use. Then we,
I think as a solution, it would be way more intuitive. Like if we can create those into the Yang definition, and then we using the CLI to pass those and then validating against it on the CLI level. And then once they pass the first level, based on the synthetic input on the model, and then we can push them down into the Redis database. And then we can replicate it into the other data store, and then return back a result to the caller if they subscribe to the result.
Yeah.
But just a proposal.
Thank you. Yes. We can contribute this good idea in the community. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we already, although CLI is customized, right? Not from the model directly. However, SONiC management framework will do the validation before you store into the DB, right? That's already there.
So like the CLI is customized, or you have a CLI, you have a NetCon interface, or Westcon, like will I have two different mode operation, different result? If we customize the validation on CLI, but if they are not model driven, and then like if I'm using a different interface, will I get a different result?
This the RESTconf and the CLI is independent. They don't share.
Which is maybe a problem itself, right? Because and then I need to hard code it on two different places. I may have two different operation. One's from CLI, one is from the NetConf.
Yeah.
Or Westcon.
Yeah, the NetConf can be the Yang module driven because the implementation is auto-generated by the Yang the Yang module, but the CLI is not. So in your case,
so like I think it may be good, if Ali can think it through, like to make a CLI also model driven by the same Yang as the NetCon interface, So in that case, you have one model drive for two external interface. Then you make your customer look and feel and the user experience consistent. Doesn't matter of like the interface.
Yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
Now I have a different topic on this specific on this transceiver, right? So I saw the original, the transceiver is actually go to the platform path, right? So here we are proposing the transceiver management is going to SYNC-D path, right? So I just want to before we forget, I just want to bring this up. So we probably will need to have a discussion on that. How do we consolidate these two?
You mean in our case, the transceiver is in the SYNC-D, but the other one is in the
Platform, SONiC platform, yeah.
SONiC platform, which is Microsoft implemented.
Exactly, Microsoft, yeah, enhancement.
Yeah. So I think because Alibaba and Microsoft, there are two kinds of device in my opinion. Because the DCO module, the DCO transceiver is on the line card, but in Microsoft the DCO is on the switch. So because in our case it's on the line card, then we have to go through the SYNC-D and OISs. That's the case. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That is. I think it's fine. We just need to present clearly. So in which case and go which way, because otherwise it will be very confused even for the developers.
Yeah. So this one is for OTN device. The other one is for IP over
switch and the router. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So the gaps transceiver status, I think is easy. So just run command and get data from the Redis database and format and print it out. That's quite simple. Then last is the Kalish CLI, because I think it also included in the original SONiC, because if we just use the SONiC utilities, then the user have to run the CLI command in the Unix shell. It's not a Cisco-like CLI command. And also the syntax in the OTN, there's a syntax restriction. For example, config slot one line text power to lective 13, because the syntax of the click, there's a limitation that you have to add minus here, then the command can be wrong. We can run it in this way. So this one is very confusing. It makes user confused. Then we have to implement a Cisco-like CLI. Then we have to use the click in the framework, the click, which is already implemented in the SONiC, is in the SONiC management framework CLI CR3. You can find these examples in this, and we will open source the OTN XML definition next. Then this Kalish is a framework to implement a Cisco-like CLI, and it will just the user need to configure the XML file to define the CLI command. And here's an example. So for example, we show alarm current. So in the click, you can run this command, show alarm current in the Unix shell, then you will get the result. But if you wanna get a Cisco-like CLI, then you need add this alarm XML in this folder. Then we install the Kalish. Then once user SSH into the system, then it's a Cisco-like CLI. Then you can show alarm current. Then it will run this action to show the to get the result. So this is the how we implement Cisco X CLI. So this is the last page. Any question? I think Xiaodong will demonstrate the CLI command if we,
Yeah,
I
just one quick question. So I have not seen the management framework yet, right? In our repo. So last time I checked.
Really,
Have you guys?
I think we already submit this. I will check later.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, excuse me. I have a question. The switch has some virtual network ports. Is the OSC also a virtual network port? What is the difference between the OSC port and the switch port?
I don't know what's the OSC switch port on the switch, but in the OTN the OSC is a channel between the two optical line cards, and it used to manage the remote box. That's what the OTN OSC. But I don't know what's the OSC on the switch.
So can I ask for clarification? Are you mentioning that you have no Clish Cisco-like for OTN, or are you suggesting we would implement Clish as in addition to Click?
We already have. We just
already have.
made the OTN definition in the XML folder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have both.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Okay, I will stop sharing. Yeah, well, I'm not sure if we have enough time. I think we run out of time for the next one, for the next topic.
Yeah, but it's a good discussion. I think it worth spending the time. Maybe if with 5 minutes left, if you want to do the demo to complete this topic, right? So we can do that. Maybe save the other topic to the next time.
I think it's enough for me too.
Okay.
Okay, so no demo?
Yes, I will show a demo
Oh.
about I don't know about SONiC OTN virtual machine. Yeah, I write a document. Yeah, here we by now we had discussed many topics, technical topics, and most source code are available on GitHub. So, but I know that most people don't have any OTN devices which run SONiC OTN. It would be inconvenient for them to use, to understand, and test and make contributions to SONiC OTN. So, working on a virtual machine is a good way to overcome this issue, because everyone can run a virtual machine on their computers. So let's see how to build a virtual machine. First, we need to clone the SONiC build image repo. Of course, this repo is empty now, but we will upload the code very soon. And then clone its submodel, and then configure the platform type. Finally, build a KVM type image. If everything goes well, you will get ONI image and LNOS images. These three images can be used to start a virtual machine. Okay. And
so I have a quick question on 2.3. 2.3 is already supported by current SONiC, right? With the VS switch. So
that's right.
you reuse that platform? Yes.
Yes, we reuse this.
Reuse, okay, okay. Then the image name is the target is reuse as well. But when you build, it will be different, right? From the real VS.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, okay.
Let's see how to okay, and these images will support chassis and support 4 NAND cards. Let's see how to start a virtual machine. This is a command to start a virtual machine, and it let's see. We can use the console and SSH to turn up, to log in to the virtual machine, and here we use Turnet to log in it. It's in the ONI recovery, and here we can see the SONiC OS image is loaded, and it is booting now. And the account name is root, and the default password is configurable in building phase. And here we enter into CLI, and here we can use DHCP client to request a DHCP address. After that, then we can use SSH to log in it. We can use Sure chassis 1 slots to chassis 1 slots.
I think the PMI is not ready here. Maybe you can show the APIs.
It's ready. Here we can see there are 4 NAND cards and 2 power supply and 5 fans in this chassis. And the status, the P230C is an optical card, and is an optical terminal system card. It has 4 client side transceiver and 2 9 side transceiver. And the first card is E110C. It is an optical 9 system card. It has EDFA and OIP models. You can see here they are all ready now, and now we can use Sure slot 1.1 state. You see the number 1 client side transceiver state on the first card. And we can use Sure slot 9 status to see the 9 side transceiver.
So this is from open configure transceiver.yang, right? The information here.
Yes, in many
Okay.
buildings.
And underneath is the open configure transceiver. Yang model.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because you have not checked in the management framework, management comment, so we don't even know the Yang model you are using underneath.
Yeah, I will have it later.
Then we can see EDFA model in the fourth card. Sure, slot 4 EDV1 info.
Mm.
We can use sure slot 4 OLP 1 info to see OLP data in slot 4. Yeah, I think that's all. Do you have any question?
Okay,
just
we
a
ask
quick-
over. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just a quick comment here. So the SONiC VS KVM image is actually bundled the ONIE inside. So you can just bring up the image as a KVM image, right? So here you need 2 steps. You go into ONIE, then load the SONiC image. So is a way to combine that. So it will be much easier for user to launch the KVM.
That's right.
Okay.
So, any other comments?
Maybe, yeah, we are already 4 minutes over to respect everyone's time. One more question, if there's any. All right, if not, maybe you can end today's call. Anyone was speaking? Going once, going twice. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Ali team for doing all this presentation and demo. I think it triggers good discussion. Also, we brainstorm a little bit for how we get this back to the main master, right? So that a lot of discussion. I feel like it's gonna makes more meaning when we try to look at a PR of getting your contribution back to the community, right? So it's a good demo anyway. It's very awesome work, and you have I see you spend a lot of efforts on building this for OTN already. Now it's about how we make it more accepted by the community. Right? So yeah, appreciate efforts, and let's continue the discussion next time. There's another topic we didn't have time to cover today, but we will try to cover it next time. And everybody else is also welcome to propose agenda for next meeting. Just post it on Wiki. We will look at it. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks everyone for joining, and talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.